Hey guys, welcome back to Fantasy Tipped. Julian here for another exciting episode. This one, the drops episode for week 8 of the fantasy hockey season. Before we jump into it, guys, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Promise you that you're going to be in for a real nice ride all year long, where I'm going to help you guys win that fantasy hockey season. If you do want to take your sport to the next level, though, do make sure to hit that join button below, or in the link in the description below, there is a link to my Patreon. And if you do join my Patreon, you get to DM with me one-on-one if you have a fantasy hockey related question. And you also get early access videos when I upload. Okay, let's jump into the list of forwards that I think you should drop now. And let's start with Evgeny Malkin of the Pittsburgh Penguins. While he did have a really great stretch while he was playing with Sidney Crosby on the top line, Malkin has slowed down quite a bit playing now on that second line in Pittsburgh. And even though he's still in the top power play, Pittsburgh has not been a great team this year, and Malkin can be dropped in some shallower leagues. Obviously, if you're in a deep league, you're hanging on to Evgeny Malkin. But in those shallower leagues, he definitely can be let go of. Patrick Kane is a similar situation. He's having a really rough year this year, and even though he's getting some great deployment, the points are not coming that often. And even though points are coming not that unfrequently, the peripherals are really bad, so his floor is just not there, and that's why Patrick Kane can be dropped in shallower leagues. Again, in deep leagues you're holding on to Patrick Kane, but in shallower ones you can let him go. And Anton Lundell of the Florida Panthers, 41% rostered, is someone who got added a lot when Barkov got injured, and he played really well while Barkov was injured. And while he hasn't been absolutely terrible, he's definitely someone that doesn't need to be owned in 41% of leagues anymore. He can be dropped in the majority of those. And Cole Perfetti of the Winnipeg Jets has slowed down quite a bit. His floor is not very safe, so even though he might break out for a couple points every now and then, most games he doesn't do a whole lot of anything, which is why he can be dropped in most leagues. If you're in a super deep league, you definitely can hold on to him, though. Anthony Cirelli was someone who got really hot with Braden Point out for a few games. He got to play on the top line and top power play. He's not there with that deployment anymore, guys, so he can be dropped as well in the majority of leagues. For defense, Erik Karlsson can be dropped. He's playing sometimes in the top power play, and sometimes he's not playing there at all. And honestly, he's been really bad this year. His peripherals haven't been good. His point output hasn't been good. And I'm not really expecting that to change that much. Karlsson is a drop, especially in those shallower leagues that there's plenty of defensemen available. Get rid of Erik Karlsson. Neil Pionk is someone who's actually been really good this year. His floor has been pretty solid, especially with hits. So he's definitely not a drop in all leagues. But if you're in a super shallow league, he can be dropped. Because, I mean, the point output isn't coming as frequently anymore. And if there's someone out there that you want to stream or whatever, you can do so. Like, don't be too scared to drop Neil Pionk. Noah Hannafin of the Vegas Golden Knights has been really disappointing this year. Playing PP2 and getting a good amount of ice time. His peripherals just haven't been that great this year, and he needs really good peripherals and a consistent, at least point every 2 game kind of output for him to have fantasy value, and he's not really achieving that right now, so he can be dropped in most leagues. Brent Burns can be dropped in all leagues. I don't know why 62% of you guys are still hanging on to him. I don't really get that. He's not getting power play one time. He's been pretty bad. I mean, he has been putting up more points lately, but the peripherals aren't really there, and I wouldn't expect consistent point production from him at his age. He's almost 40 years old. And Justin Falk of the St. Louis Blues, I hate having him here because he's been top power play literally all season, like save maybe one game. Listen, he's always in the mix when you watch the Blues games. Like, he's always there and he's always contributing somehow, but for some reason he's never on the score sheet. So I don't know if that's going to change anytime soon, if it's just bad luck. But even though I own Justin Falk in quite a few leagues, I'm listing him as a drop here. Maybe I'll finally jinx him by putting him here and he'll actually start producing. And that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching all the way through. If you enjoyed my content today, drop a like and hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next episode of Fantasy Tipped.